YouTube and welcome to our 32nd Unity 3D tutorial. And in the last tutorial we finished completing our GUI for our inventory, so when we press I it comes up, it's got all the fancy features. But then I was looking at it, if we were to do adding items now, we'd have one item to add, which would be wood. Well, kinda, yeah, which isn't very good. So what I did is I did some finding and stuff, and basically I found some more items what we could add into the game. So first I've got, well, we need an icon for wood, so I got a wood icon. I think it's off Farmville or something weird, I don't know. But that's 50 by 50, that'll be in the description, all these will. Then I got that one and I edited it and put it on as lighter wood for our palm trees, which we have, which I'll show you in a minute. Then I thought we'd add some stone to the game, so you can pick up stone and craft stuff with it, so we could add a crafting menu or something. And then we have an iron ingot, which, well, it's iron, we probably need iron. So I did all that, and then I put that into my resources folder here. And so what I basically done is put in resources and put in a folder called item icons with an underscore. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to name all these with ID numbers. So like when we code it, the new inventory, what we're going to code later, we could say like, the texture for the wood icon is ID number 1. So we're going to load this as always number 1. So what we'll just do is press F2 or right click rename, and at the beginning put 0_1. Well, underscore, and then that'll mean it will always load that one first. So you load it in order of what you want it to be loaded as. So it's simple. So after oak wood, I think I'll load palm wood. So that'll be number 1, and then after I think I'll load stone, which will be number 2, and then iron bar number 3. So if you want to add more, you just put 4_ whatever. And then now that we've done that, what we can do is, before we carry on, is we're going to fix all the errors on this scene first, because they really do matter nothing. So we play it and you see we get 3 errors at us when it decides to load there. So as you see, error. So we look at these errors, so don't worry about it going off the screen, you can see it. 2 audio listeners, so we need to deactivate 1 camera. The variable camera switch, so we need to activate a camera, so re-equip it. And the variable player health HUD, so we need to put the health HUD on. So to do this, we'll go back to our character and go to camera switch. So camera FPS we need to attach, so main camera. Where's our FPS camera? There it is. So we're going to deactivate this camera because we don't need it. And then we're going to stick this on there. But we also haven't got a third person camera, so we'll stick that on there. And if we click on our main camera, should it follow a character? Yes, it does. So now if we play, we should have a third person mode. And that error should disappear for good. There we go. So as you can see, much better. Press V. First person, V. There we go. And that error, 2 errors have gone. 2 gone. That's good. So now what we're going to do is look back at our prefabs, and we're going to clean this folder up a bit because it's way too messy at the moment. So we're going to create a new folder inside the prefabs folder, and we'll just call this character. In fact, we'll just call this weapons. And what we're going to do is stick our Hadouken in, Hadouken prefab, fireball, enemy bullet, and that should do. Stick that into weapons, so that's a lot better. Make a new folder in here called character, and we'll stick our main char, main character, and character in here. Make another folder, call this landscape. This is just really cleaning up. We're not going to do this the whole tutorial, so don't worry. And we'll stick the door arrow in there because it kind of counts as landscape. In fact, we'll keep the coin out. Make a new one called enemies. Put Deathstroke in it, and another one. HUDs, and stick our loading screen in, and then one more, and we'll call it items, and stick our coin in. So now it's a lot more laid out. We can get to our things much easier instead of having to scroll down. So hide our scripts a minute. So we've got 2 characters at the moment. So if we click this one, our character's got everything up to water controls, but this one doesn't. So we can delete that main char because we don't need that one. Delete, yes, that's good. So what we can do is just reassign our character back to it. There we go. So now if we look, it's got everything it needs. It's all assigned and all good. So that's it. So if we can assign that to it, no we can't, never mind. So now that that's done, we can go back to our first level. Levels in level 1. Right, the palm trees what I was talking about earlier was, at the moment we've got two types of trees. We've got normal trees, this is these ones, and then we've got palm trees, which is these big long ones here. So these palm woods are going to be the lighter wood, and then dark woods are going to be normal ones. We can't yet cut down the palm ones, so what we'll do is we'll just stick a box and you collect it. So it'll be really easy. So what we're going to first do is go to our hoods and make a new prefab, and we'll call this hoods. We'll just call it hoods. There's nothing else we can really call it. And what we'll do in our game is we'll create a new empty game object, and we'll just roughly place it where the character is. Don't need to be there, because if it's where the character is, then it'll be really easy to do. So we'll never lose it. And we'll just call this one hoods. And in this, we'll attach our HUD animations, loading screens, health and an information panel. Stick all these in, because then that way we can just drag it in, and we have one prefab that does them all, which is really effective. Efficient, that's it. So we'll go back to our interior and make our hoods into here. Boom. As you can see, check if we've got all the scripts what we need. Everything's equipped. Yep. So go back to our character. Go to our health HUD. And it needs the health GUI. So health HUD. Anything else? Controls. Inventory. Nope, I believe that's everything. Yep. So now that's done, we play it one more time and we should see no more errors. There we go, no more errors whatsoever. We can still fire, which is helpful. We can jump and all that, which is good. So now that we've done that, we'll get onto the actual inventory of it. So what we're going to first do is go back to our level 1 and just create 4 boxes for now. So we'll go back to our main character and we're just going to create a cube. Because each one of these cubes is just going to be like a quick activation for the items, so that if we ever want to like test it next time, we don't have to sit there chopping wood, mining or whatever. We can just walk and collect these boxes. So it's really simple. So make it a bit bigger because you actually want to see it. What we'll do for the future tutorials is we'll just make it a trigger. So it's really simple, and we'll call this one oak wood. Duplicate it, move it across. We'll call this palm wood, move it across. And what was our other one? It was stone, so we'll just call this stone. And one more, iron. Spell it right, there we go. So what we're going to do for all these is we're just going to create another game object so it's all neatly, and put items in it. And then we'll equip our stone, palm, oak and iron to it. And we're going to assign our resources from here onto them so we can actually tell what each of them are. So oak, palm, stone, iron. So all of them should be triggers, which we can use for collections. As you can see, that one's not very nice. For some reason that one's messing up, but okay. So what we can do if we wanted to make it better as well, is we can just make them all transparent so that they just look like a floating block or something. It'll look a little bit better. Okay, well that's going to take ages, but bumped. All I'm doing is, because it goes off screen, is click diffuse and click transparent, bump diffuse. It's the top one. All that does is just get rid of the black or white on the background. There we go, so we have items that we can collect. Now we've done that, we're going to open up our player's inventory. So if we type in the search bar, player inventory, this is what we're going to edit now. So as you can see, what we've basically got is we've got 2 static vars, one for our money and one for the amount of wood we have in our inventory, which is good, but it's not super efficient, because imagine when we get iron, stone, we're going to have millions of variables which we don't want. So what we're going to do is create one variable for each thing. So as you know, we created an ID for, if I just go back to here, for our resources folder, we started giving them IDs. So 0 is oak wood, 1 is palm wood, 2 is stone, and 3 is iron. So we're going to work with that. So what we're going to do is get rid of this static. In fact, we'll keep this static var. And what we're going to do, instead of calling it players wood here, what we're just going to rename it to is item players. Item players amount. So this will store each individual item by ID to the amount they have. So we'll just make this into an int, which is an integer, which is a number which we know, and then that'll be an array, like so. So as that will now store each item. So what it'll be like, so 0 is equal to wood, so we have 0 wood, we have 0 stone, 0 iron, 0 palm wood, and then we can just keep adding it on like so, and that'll give us how much you have. So if we ever want to quickly edit it, we could say like players inventory dot players amount bracket 52 or 6th one, which would be the 5th ID, which would be something like stone or something, equals this number. So it's really efficient and easy, and if you don't get it, you'll see really quickly in later tutorials. Yeah, so we'll call this items so we know where it is. Now that we've done that, we're going to start basically building up the properties of our items. So we have the amount of items we've got, which is good, but we actually need something what defines each ID. So basically all we're going to do is make another one of these, but this will be a string, which is, if you don't know where a string is, it's just text. And then we'll be able to give each item by ID a name, which is really simple. So what we're going to do is duplicate that, and this top one we're just going to rename to item ID. So it's simple. And it's not going to be an int no more, it's going to be a string. So in here we'll put like 0 equals oak wood, 1 equals palm wood, 2 equals iron, blah blah blah. Really simple. But these ain't finished yet, so what we have to do is after this array, but before the semicolon, we're just going to put equals, then we're going to put 2 more arrays. So basically we're saying this array here equals this. So in here, you can do this in the inspector, but every time you switch levels you have to redo it all again. But if you do it in the script, then it's automatically there. So it's simple. So this first one, ID 0, will be oak wood, so that's its name, comma, ID 1 will be palm wood, ID 2 will be stone, and ID 3 will be iron bar. You can put spaces in here if you like, so I'm just going to space it out just to prove it works, like so. And now that's that done, if we were to go back to the inspector, you would not see anything. So if we go back to our players inventory, you won't see anything new because it's static and we have an error. Players wood. Where's it saying players wood? Oh yeah, don't worry about that, we'll fix that in a minute. But this int again, we have to do the exact same as we did for this. So equals, brackets. So the first one, how much oak wood do we have? None. How much palm wood? None. How much stone? None. How much iron? None. You could just make them all equal 0, but they all need their individual properties. So now it's looking a bit better. So if we wanted to say get ID 2 would be stone, and then we want to change the amount, so we'll go players item amount ID 2 that, so we know where it is. Another way I usually do it was at the bottom of this, I'll just put a note and type 0 equals oak wood. So now we know that item 0 is oak wood. Copy this. 1 equals palm wood, 2 equals stone, 3 equals iron bar. So now we just look at this, right, I wonder what like number 3 was, so we don't have to look for all these, is that number 3 was iron bar, so it's really simple. If you don't understand that or want to use it, this is much simpler. So yeah, what we're going to do is going to get rid of the function update because we don't need that. It's the start we're more interested in, because we've done the item ID and the player's amount, but we need to try and think ahead of our game, so that we can program ahead for it like we're doing now, which is really simple. So what we're going to do is, eventually we're going to want to shop, aren't we? So what we're going to do is now make a new array, the same as that, but we'll call this one item buying amount. So this will be when the player goes to buy something, how much it will cost. So you can change these. This is why we're keeping it static. But say for oak wood, I'll say it'll cost him 10. Palm wood, I'll say 10. Stone, how much? I don't know. This is like 10 gold at the moment, so they're quite expensive, but I don't know. This is per one as well. If you want a stack of 10, then you can do it the exact same way. But stone, I'll say 20, and iron bar, I'll say 30, because iron's a bit more rare than stone, I'm guessing. Not super sure. But then we'll duplicate that again and call it selling amount. So this is when the player sells to the shop, because we're going to put that in as well. So usually what they do is they just half the prices. So it'll cost them. You can buy it for 10, but you can only sell it back for 5. So the shops, like the players, can't get rich quickly. It's like most businesses work anyway. And now for what I was doing with the icons, we're going to do a texture one. So we're just going to duplicate this one, and we'll call this item texture. And then this will equal to a new texture. Make sure you put that word new in there, else it won't work. And then basically what we're going to do is this is messed up. No, wait, that's right, yeah. What we're going to do is just leave that for now. We'll go back to our function start, and like we did in the last tutorial, where we did the 4 update, we're also going to stick that in here. So if I drag this up so you can see it, we're going to type in var textures, create a new variable which is an object like we did, which will be an array which will load all our textures and store it in, and this will equal to resources.load all like we did. And what do we want it to load? So where's the file directory? So we know that it is item icons, so paste that back in, and then what we want it to load it as, texture 2D. And that should be it. Now we're going to create our for loop. So for var I equals 0 again. So it starts off as, creates a new variable, starts off as 0. I is less than. Then we want this length, textures dot length, yeah, and then I plus plus. So that exact same as we did on the other loop. It's the exact same. You can even copy and paste it and just change it if you like. And then what we're going to do is we want this item texture to not be static. So we don't want that to be static, so get rid of that. And then what we're going to basically do is make whatever this texture is equal, because if this is in function start, nothing else can access it, except everything in function start. But we're only doing it like that because you can't put an object here without getting an error. So you have to do it this way. But basically we're just going to put item texture and then I, so whatever I is, so say I is 0, the variable element of I on item texture, which is the 0 at first, will equal to the textures as it's loaded 0. So it'll first load the 0, 1, it'll do this, it'll equal 0, so the item texture 0 equals the texture 0, which will be the texture. So it'll load it, you'll even see it load as it does it, which is really cool. So we can actually go back now, and that's pretty much nearly done. So we've got an error with our new things, don't worry about that. But what we're going to first do is get rid of this in here. We do have to keep this here, but get rid of the equals. Like so. So the new item texture, then we put what we want it to be in here. So we want it to be player inventory. So this is basically what size you want this array to be, because you don't add it as you go along, you make it one size and then just fill it. So this will be that, the item ID, this one, and then we put it dot length. There you go. So say the item ID equals 5, this length will be 5, then this fills it up to 5. So it uses each other to fill it up, which is really cool. So we try it now, and it doesn't understand new, because you meant to put an equal sign. Put the equal sign, not a colon. There we go. So cannot convert a string to int. Player inventory 7 there. So it's not understanding that because we're not supposed to put the things. You don't need speech marks when it's an int. I messed up there. So if anything what's an int, get rid of all speech marks. Only strings have speech marks. Oops, 5. There we go. Right, no more errors, fingers crossed. Right, that's it. Load all. Loads of errors today. That's not good. I should have copied and pasted it. You're probably all looking like, no, there we go. Right, tree chop, it says we've got an error because it doesn't understand what player's wood is from the player inventory because we changed it. So what we're going to do is just double click this to open it up, get rid of that. So as you can see, we scroll down and look for player's wood, so I know it's at the bottom. So it does not understand player's wood here. So it prints it, and it does it. So now what we can do is test out our new thing. So if we grab our player's amount here and copy and paste it. So player's inventory dot player's amount bracket. So this will be collecting normal wood. So we'll just put 0 in because we already know that item ID is 0. And then plus equals 1. That's it. So we can copy and paste this into our print statement so it still prints it. That's it. We've done. So if we were to go, no more errors. Bye bye. And then what we could do is press play. Don't worry about that error again. Now if we were to say chop a tree. C to chop. Chop, chop, chop. As you see, it's gone up by 1. And if we look into our icons, item texture, it's loaded everything in the right order. So 0 wood there. So that's it. So it's really effective. Now that we've got 4 items, we can create an inventory what's not just going to be 1 item full. What I'm first going to do though is copy these and move them back. And then move them forward. Because then we can bulk up on items. So instead of just having 1 item per slot, we can like run down these, get 4, 4, 4, 4. So it's really simple. Close it up and you never see it again. So that's that. Next tutorial we'll either add some more items or finish working on our HUD inventory to make it, you know, I forgot the name of it. Add items so it's complete. I think we did assign the character here, we might not have. Press I, yep, there, inventory works. So when we walk over these boxes, nothing happens at the moment, but when we walk over them, they'll destroy and then collect in there. No, chopping the tree does not add it to the inventory yet, but it will soon. There, and then what we'll be able to do is like put, say, like troll hut here or something, or a person's hut, and we're like walk in, like go up close to one, press a key, and like an inventory or another GUI pops up. What do you want to buy? We click it, it takes our money, switches it. So it's really simple. So that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching. All the pictures will be in the description, and see you later.